There's a part of the population over there that is not indifferent to us as an industry, but actively seeks out to destroy us as an industry. So, we have to fight to, not just to grow and prosper, but we have to fight to retain the rights that we innately possess today, because there's people that want to take that from us. And in our case, it's not just, hey, take your guns away. It's take your guns away and take your business away, take your livelihood away, and shut you down. And you have to have the right mindset, the right outlook, the right confidence in yourself to be able to, to see beyond that and to stick with it.
Shooter ready? Stand by. Go. I'm kind of excited about the video that we're going to show you today. We've done a lot of gunsmith interviews in the past, but we haven't done like a lot of manufacturer interviews. So today, I've got a pretty interesting American take on the Kalashnikov by Texas Weapon Systems. Today we're going to take a look at a lot of their pretty innovative ideas that they're applying to AKs today. If you don't know who Texas Weapon System is, a lot of people know these guys for their railed dogleg dust covers. Gen 1, Gen 2, now they're actually on the Gen 3. And a lot of people don't actually know about all the other stuff that they're doing. So today, I just want to introduce a really cool Texas #based company that's been making stuff for the AK for many, many years. And now they're branching out into other things. Gas blocks, rails, extended charging handles, butt stocks, all kinds of cool stuff. And we're even going to get to go to Austin, me and my beautiful wife on the camera, and we're going to tour their shop. It's really cool to be invited to go do this. They came out to Kalash Bash and had a great time. We just seemed to hit it off, and it's a small family-owned business, which is really cool that they've been doing it this long and it's still owned by a family. So let's go see how some boys in Texas can try to update your AK for you. I hear the shop's pretty nice. Let's go ahead and get out of here.
A little bit about my background and where these ideas come from. My career experience is all in mechanical engineering, manufacturing engineering, product design, the product development, manufacturing development, that sort of thing. My specific career experience before I came into the firearms industry was in the motorsports industry, where we built things like this. When I was a young buck, I worked at a company that built cars like this for SCCA road racing. We ran on national level competition all around the US. And I, in addition to being a fabricator, designer, manufacturer, I was also a driver in my early years. So hi, I'm Nelson Fessas Sr., CEO of Texas Weapon Systems.
And I am Nelson Fessas Jr., Director of Marketing.
We're here to do a factory tour today of the TWS facilities and give you a little bit of insight into where the ideas come from, where we work, and where we put your products together. So folks, if you'll excuse our mess, we just spent the whole day at the range and we got the place kind of torn apart. But where we come in, when we welcome our visitors coming in through here, as Nelson Jr. here said, we've got our design studio on the right side. We've got our customer service area. Mary works over here on this end, and she handles all your service calls with anything you may need. Here's where I sit and I do my management work or my design work, as the case may be. You saw that I've got entirely too many of my engineering race car projects around here. The place is spacious. We've got these fun motorcycles way up over here. This is kind of like, you know, trophy room stuff up here. And so,
Can't pass that. We saw that the first time we walked in. What is that?
yeah. All right. So, so this crazy old thing here is a flathead V12 short block from a 1937 Packard. Very few of these things were made. Anybody that knows the old classic antique and vintage cars will know that this is a very rare bird indeed. Back in the 1930s, during the Great Depression, when the U.S. car companies were building these extravagant cars to try and save themselves, Packard came out with this thing. It was their answer to the Cadillac V16 of the day. Okay?
You know, being that this is the family business, this ends up being as much the workplace as it does the man cave. Hence, you know, the for fun projects like the race cars, the engines, and the motorcycles that we have scattered about.
So let's go on this way. So as we come over here, this second warehouse space we use as our assembly, packaging, shipping, distribution area.
The orientation of all the processes in the shop is designed so that you don't have processes doubling back over each other as much as possible. So even though it's kind of a snaking path through the shop, as you'll see once we get onto the manufacturing floor, everything kind of flows in a single direction. And so as things come in from the manufacturing floor, they hit these tables where things actually get assembled. And then you can see there's wire shelves over there against that wall. That's where all of our small part inventory is stored. Pins, springs, bolts, screws, things of that nature. And then all of that comes together here where the product is assembled, packaged, and then stored on the green shelves there, and that's warehousing.
And it doesn't stay around long. Oftentimes it's literally product comes back from the anodizer, from the black oxide service providers. Parts will be here literally for just a few hours before they're packed, and out the door they go.
Yep.
Okay. So from here, and we're actually kind of doing a reverse walk. If I were to show you how the product gets assembled, we should have started at the other end of the building as if we were a truck dropping off materials. So use your imagination for that a little bit.
Let's go to the loading door next.
Let's go to the CNC shop. Things here are very quiet right now because it's Saturday, July 6th, you know, the long 4th of July weekend. So everybody's at home or on vacation, taking time off. So the shop is off and it's quiet right now, okay? We were mentioning when trucks come in. So the trucks will come in over there and we'll forklift materials off of the trucks. Materials get put onto racks where the materials then get chopped up into billets, depending on whether we're making the top covers or the handguards, whether they're going for Russian or Yugo pattern, or whatever the combination may be. From there, the product will get distributed to one of over half a dozen machines we've got here. And our first one over here with robotics, we're very proud of that one. That machine there has been in service for about a year. Now, I know the first thing people are going to say is, oh my God, there's no safety cage around that thing. These guys are crazy. It's actually being serviced. So that's why all the cage is off. We've got to put up against the wall. And we're experimenting on some new material presentation racks and programming. So that's why the cages are off. So please forgive me on that a little bit, all right? And so the equipment that we have here this is really latest generation American-made CNC machines from Haas, VF2 super speeds, they call those. We've got our mill turn lathe over there, the Haas ST20Y. The newest CNC machine dates to 2022. The oldest machine in this place is this old timer right over here. We've got this old, not a CNC machine of course, but a simple basic machine like this is what we use to crimp the guide wire loop that gets pressed onto the cover release button. So in order to get those two pieces solidly, firmly crimped together so that they never come apart, we use this 45-ton press. This machine was made in 1935. I want to say I've had this machine since about 2000, 2001, that time frame. And when we got it, all those years ago, we rebuilt it, refurbished it, put new electronic controls on it, safety devices, two-hand safety devices and whatnot, and made some tooling for it. But this is where the buttons get crimped onto the wire loop that secures it in place. So as our materials, as we said, would come in off the trucks onto the racks, get chopped up, Then they get, from that focal point, they get distributed out, fanned out to whatever machine they're getting worked on. From there, they get processed. Most of these machines will give us what we call a one and done process. So the top cover, for example, will go through this machine and it'll run day and night. It'll load a billet of aluminum, something like that. I think it weighs about 3 pounds or so. By the time we're done with it, it'll come out weighing just a few ounces and it'll be 100% done. From there, it goes off to the anodizer where it gets blasted, textured, and anodized, hard black anodized for the longevity we need. So over here, this machine will generally manufacture our cover release buttons or our hinge forks. We've got, we make these things. This is kind of a leftover batch, but these boxes will be full. We'll make these guys hundreds and hundreds at a time. And the machines will just sit there clicking away, make a part, reload itself, make a part, reload itself, continuous process. An unattended operation every chance we can get. Any one of the machines can be configured to make pretty much any one of the parts that we make. But we tend to leave particular machines specialized to making either covers or hand guards or whatnot. In the case of this machine over here, this is the one that makes our ever popular hobnob product. And this is, there we go. It comes off complete, ready to use right off the machine. So it's got a magazine style bar loader. So we can load it up with 30, 40 bars of material, of 1-inch round material, and it will feed out. It'll process it through in that orientation. It'll cut all these features, drill it from the front, drill it and tap it from the sides, cut all the grooves in it. And then we have what's called a sub spindle, where a second work holding device comes, grabs it, pulls it off, and then we'll machine the backside of it. And then the machine itself will drop it into a basket. Once that's done, it'll repeat and it'll just, it's kind of like a machine gun, right? It'll keep working until you release that trigger. This thing will keep working and working and working until it either runs out of material or you tell it to stop. Naturally, as you would expect from that, there's hundreds of little operations that go to support all of the major operations. And we've been doing this now for 15 years, maintaining the highest quality standards that we deliver to the marketplace and doing our best for you every single day. My firearms development and gunsmithing kind of on these tables here with this area. You can see I've got a couple of these IK-103s disassembled here in various stages as we're kind of experimenting, playing around with these things and developing products. I do a lot of manual machining when I'm developing these products. So in addition to the designer, excuse me, being the designer, yeah, I'm very highly experienced machinist as well. I've been running these machines for, oh my goodness, since I would say the mid-1980s is when I started learning the metalworking trades. Okay? So I've been doing it basically all my life. Passing that on to him.
Slowly but surely.
This is the rental.
Yeah, that's the rental.
Wow.
Yeah. So
It wouldn't surprise me if that thing had 10 or 12,000 rounds
Yeah.
through it.
This is normal on these. There's just no getting around steel case hitting aluminum. But what happens is it'll extrude a little bit and then it work hardens once it extrudes. And as it work hardens, it'll take like a set and then it won't deform any further beyond that.
That's a lifetime of ammo for some.
Yeah.
Man, that one's super freaking smooth.
And that there is the real magic of the IK gun, because it was designed from the ground up to run a can.
You know, that reaction you just had, that shit never gets old.
Nice. It's the mid-2000s.
Yep,
Yeah.
You've got the Gen 1.
So we've got the Gen 1. We've got one around here somewhere.
right here.
Oh, there. Yeah.
So this was born on AR15.com.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah.
You took people's temperature on the design. They told you what they wanted, what they liked. This was after a lot of Q&A on a forum that is now probably archived as one of the second most popular
Yeah.
posts on our
We'll provide you the link to that archive because you can still see it.
So the Gen 1 product attached up at the rear sight block in place of the original Leaf sight, where it would hinge open and close, allowing you to still field strip the weapon. And then, you know, these have been kicking around for so long that some of the parts are missing. But back here you can see this metal peg. This is actually spring loaded, moves up and down. And then there was a latch mechanism that would come up and it would hook onto both sides of this metal pin and attach to the rear stock tang. And that's how that would be secured in place. And it worked for a while. For about a year, we made these, right?
Well, yeah. For what it was, it worked well. For a first attempt, you know, it wasn't bad. And, you know, especially with that clever kind of spring-loaded locking mechanism right there, you can see that pin goes up and down right there. And so what we had was something that looked like the latch on a suitcase that would come up and kind of snag onto that and firmly clamp it down onto the rear stock tang. But then, back in the 2009-10 timeframe, underfolders were super popular for whatever reason. And the guys with those rifles were suggesting that, hey, you left us out in the cold. You know, we need a mount solution also. What do you got for us? And so then it was back to the drawing board. It became apparent to me that I really had to go to an integral cover Picatinny rail type solution. And so our Gen 2 product ended taking some of the design cues from the Gen 1, where you can see we've still got that stepped feature over the top, only now it's adjustable, okay? And it's that little stepped feature right there, which gives the product its name because that's the dog leg, okay? That kind of zigzag shape in common engineering use is oftentimes referred to as a dog leg. So we kept that same attachment method from the Gen 1 to the Gen 2, only now we incorporated the pick rail onto a dust cover that we machined out of one aluminum billet, and we got away from the stock tang mechanism at the back, like that. And so now we've got the reconfigured cover release button that we've described in our product demo videos with the cam lock feature on it that locks the entire back part of the cover onto the rear trunnion.
Your company as a whole started from a literal forum post on AR15.com
yes.
that you could still read today. It's still there archived.
That's right. That's right. Basically, I say, hey, I want to make this for myself. What am I overlooking? You know, I introduced myself as someone that, you know, didn't have much experience in this thing. I don't remember how I worded it exactly. You'll see it when you pull up the old thread. But basically, it was, hey, I don't have a lot of experience here. What am I overlooking? And that's when people started chiming in. And I think because of that tone on that thread, it never turned into one of those kind of flaming and hating discussion threads where people are just ripping each other apart.
Everyone was super well behaved. Like you go back and you
Yeah.
reread it. I mean, just a few months ago, I had occasion to go back and reread some of the posts, and it's like, where has this courteousness gone? Like everyone was so polite and like helpful, you know?
Yeah, I mean,
Reddit has conditioned us to expect worse now.
Yeah, exactly,
yeah,
exactly.
I mean-
It's like Reddit could never.
yeah. And so on maybe the one or two little instances where somebody started kind of getting a little out of line like that, I mean, I would quickly step in and say, hey, look, you know, if you want to be helpful, we're all ears.
You would dox them.
Yeah, well, I wouldn't do that, but basically, if you give them a little slap on the wrist, you know, publicly, they go, I'm sorry. You know? And so it was generally a very productive, very helpful discussion to have with a lot of folks.
You guys have been making parts before I was really into AKs.
Yep.
So does it feel good knowing that you're like one of those OG aftermarket suppliers for AKs? You've been around longer than a lot of name brands today. How does that make you feel?
You know, there's a certain satisfaction in that, right? When we first got into it, the only guy that was making anything good was Mark Krebs.
Yep.
Okay. And Mark is a fantastic guy. We've known him for years now, love him to death. We've collaborated on a number of projects. So it was Mark making good product, had one product that was kind of in line with what I wanted to do, and everything else was junk. I mean, it was like the cheap imported Chinese stuff that, to not drop any names on those guys. But we've all seen it. We know what that stuff looks like. The price is generally something, $29.99 or something like that.
Yeah, the usual bargain bin stuff you find at the gun show.
Yeah, so we came in somewhere in the middle, delivering a quality product at a fair price that would deliver years and years of service. All of our products, there's the Hurricane.
Yeah, there's Barrel.
Boom.
Fresh barrel imports
Yeah.
right now.
We've seen the industry grow a lot since then. We've seen a lot of people come and a lot of people go. The industry today is much more advanced than it was all those years ago. And I like to think that we had a part in driving that industry forward, because
absolutely.
For someone to bring a credible solution to market, they had to deliver value at least equal to what we were providing to the marketplace.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's some satisfaction in that. So the Gen 3 product, actually, why don't you hand me one of those rifles over there?
Yeah, absolutely.
And it'll be a little easier to demonstrate it that way. Hand me that rifle and give me the Gen 2 cover as well. So this particular model rifle, what we did is when some of our customers wanted to run a long scope on their rifle. So if a guy has one of these rifles, say chambered in 308 or 7.62 by 54, and you're running a 12 power scope that overhangs here, when the cover pivots upwards, the front of the scope wants to come down and hit the handguard.
Yeah, it prevents you from being able to open the cover enough to field strip the weapon.
So I decided, hey, this really should have a quick detach mechanism, and that's what we developed there. And now you can just pull it off like that. So no matter how long your scope is, boom, you can pop it on, take it off, and back in business. And because this cover costs roughly the same as those quick detach mounts, you can actually have multiple covers with a red dot, a variable like this, whatever you need. And you can just swap the whole thing off, and it's a more cost-effective solution. Mm-hmm. And then we got fortunate in finding that once we designed the quick detach hinge, well, it was a little more robust. It gave us the opportunity to make a more robust front end design than what we had on the older Gen 2. At a tiny, tiny little sacrifice in weight. So boom.
It's as easy.
Do that. There you go. There you go. Back in business. And it's
you guys related?
and so it's literally that quick and easy.
Yeah. These guns are all built on a Sharps Brothers MB47 milled receiver. As you can see, they have all of our furniture set, and they have the long top version of our handguard, which, as you can see here, it removes the rear sight block, giving you a flat top on an AK. Allows you to run lasers, clip-on night vision, thermals, things of that nature. The rifle features our own barrels, so we're turning our own barrels from blanks. These barrels have 5/8 24 threads at the muzzle, concentric of course, so you can run suppressed. And that truly was the goal with this rifle when we set out to build it, was to build a factory AK that was suppressor ready out of the box. Of course, in the furtherance of that goal, it comes with our 6-position adjustable gas regulator, which features 3 suppressor settings, a standard gas setting, an over gas setting, and actually an off setting as well. So if you're running subsonic ammunition and you need the gun to be extremely quiet, you can twist it to the off setting, which is where I have it now, which will allow you to fire the weapon without the bolt carrier cycling, allow you to have a truly, truly quiet shot.
Oh, awesome. 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 I think you and I, the three of us, talked about this on the phone. Tunable gas blocks in general.
Yeah.
There's been some really bad attempts at it.
Yeah.
This seems to be the best way to solve the problem. You have leverage if it ever gets carbon locked, and you specifically brought out this gun that we shot a ton.
Yeah.
And it never got difficult to adjust, and you even have a rental version, slightly longer barrel with
We do.
tens
Yeah.
of thousands of rounds, and it was even smoother to adjust.
That would be that would be this gun here. So one of the ways in which we tested and continue to test this weapons platform is by partnering with one of our local gun ranges here in Austin, the range at Austin, and we actually have introduced some of these guns in their rental fleet, and we periodically get them back, like we have this one here, for testing and evaluation. And this gun has 10, 12,000 rounds through it currently, and you can see this gun has never been cleaned. They just lubricate it periodically, and I can still, with my bare fingers, twist the gas regulator without a problem.
And even if it's hot, we were just using a bullet tip. And you
Yeah,
didn't have to
exactly.
pick it.
You got the little hole right there, you just stick the tip of the bullet in there, and you can crank it over.
And I have to say, shooting that little 12-inch suppressed today was so smooth. It's just, after shooting it, I don't think I'd ever shoot it unsuppressed. That was just such a beautifully shooting suppressed gun. Perfect barrel length for the caliber.
Yeah.
The handguard looks amazing on that barrel length.
Yeah, shooting it suppressed is my preference as well. This is as short as you can go with a standard bolt carrier group and gas system. Curiously, one of the things that we found when we were testing this is that even though your dwell time or dwell distance is about an inch, this gun actually runs unsuppressed without a recoil booster on its standard gas setting.
Which really surprised me when we first started developing this thing, because I just intuitively, I just knew that the fact that the bullet uncorks so soon after the gas port, that it just wasn't going to cycle right. And
Yeah,
that turned out not to be the case.
I took it to the range to test it out. It was the first time we'd put rounds through this prototype. This was a few months ago. And, on a whim, I loaded up a mag, set it on standard gas, and yeah, I mean, it just ran like a sewing machine the whole time.
Man, it looks good as a Draco.
Yeah, here.
So
You can see we have a bullet. If your gas block is hot, which will inevitably happen as you shoot, you just take the tip of a round, stick it in there, and you can crank it over without a problem. Which allows you to still adjust it, when your gas block is 400 degrees after after half a dozen mags. And one of the other curious things that we've sort of discovered after those tremendous round counts that they're putting through those guns in such short order is that these guns don't really break down, they break in. So, you put 5,000 rounds in it and the gun is smoother than the day you got it.
Yeah, we're shipping these guns with ALG triggers in them. We don't put a standard ALG in it. We actually we polish the mating surfaces. Effectively, a factory trigger job is what we're putting on the things. And so they're silky smooth. And the more you use them, just the better they get. Truly, this rental gun that's had, we said 10, 12,000 rounds through it. I mean, you've never felt a better AK trigger on this thing.
Yeah, and I mean, you can speak to that having put several hundred rounds through this gun today. I mean, your own experience will be testament to, how well these guns shoot and how smooth they run. This is our enhanced charging handle, the Hobnob. It is the only 3-bolt charging handle on the market. So, most of the other aftermarket charging handles that you see, they'll have one set screw that comes in on the front. This one is unique in that it has 3. It's got one on the top, which hooks into the little divot at the base of the charging handle. And you have one in the back and one in the front. And the one in the back and the one in the front are actually offset from each other slightly, which allows you to accommodate the handful of different curve profiles. And also, it allows you to adjust the cant angle so you can angle it forward if you want a bit of a hook to it, or you can angle it back if you prefer your hand to slide off more easily as you're running the charging handle, or perpendicular as we have this one set up currently.
That's a really cool thing, and it's such a good benefit to have.
Yeah, so that's why the 3 bolts. I mean, that makes all the difference. I think what happens is manufacturers look at that, and it seems like such a simple thing. It's like, oh, it's a no-brainer. Just stick a screw in, it'll be fine. It'll fit into the curve. But when you don't give it the attention that it merits, you don't come up with the good solution. So yes, it's got the curve in the front, which allows that screw to settle in nicely, but the curve on the back allows it to also fall off easily.
Right.
So by adding the 3 screws, we lock it in there, and it's not going anyplace.
Mm-hmm.
You know, as a complete package, this thing felt super capable today. And I know you guys have some really cool ideas bubbling up in the future, so I'm really excited to see where this thing goes. These things are available now.
Yeah.
They're available
Several barrel
now.
lengths.
Yeah, so we've got the 103 model.
Yep.
In the standard 16-inch, 16.1-inch barrel. We've got the 104, which is our pistol model, right, with a 12.5-inch barrel. And then we've got the...
Yeah, let's look at this thing.
Yeah, we've got the IRPK, which is the big heavy barreled version with the 22-inch long barrel.
This is the IRPK.
Right,
Yep.
the improved RPK.
Yep.
Oh.
And this is our prototype. So this current prototype has just a standard RPK barrel, just done for testing's sake. This will have a slightly heavier profile barrel, which, as with the other two, we will turn in-house from a blank. It will also come with a bipod and with a carrying handle, given that the RPK is intended to be used in an automatic rifleman role.
Yeah.
It just looks wild.
Yeah, it's fun. It's a tank of a gun. You know, you throw a can on the already 22-inch long barrel, and this sucker gets pretty unwieldy. You know, put a drum on it too, but man, just that barrel length and that mass, it soaks up recoil beautifully. Yeah. You know, you can just drill a target with a drum mag, and it's all nice and tight on target.
Man.
So, you know, it's definitely a more unique weapon with...
Yeah, it's
with
a very specialist weapon.
a very specialized weapon with a niche role. And in that role, it will function superbly.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
This is a family, like, with mom's off camera.
Yep.
And she works here too. So just the whole family unit being here, what's that been like? And you can just briefly tell me what that's like so you don't hurt feelings. But working with family every day, what's that like, doing gun stuff?
You know, it's like anything else in life, right? It's got its advantages and disadvantages. The advantages, well, you know that everyone truly has the same commitment to the project that you're undertaking because everybody's livelihood depends on it. And another benefit is that you get to do what you love. And when you enjoy what you do, you're going to do it. Chances are you're going to do it really well. Okay. Downsides of it, like any family business, the family dynamic can come into the workplace also, and not an issue so much. You know, he's a grown man now, but when he was a teenager and kind of getting started in this, there was some of that, you know, resistance to what mom said or resistance to what dad said, that kind of thing.
Yeah, when I was, 18 years old, fresh out of high school, still living at home and coming into work, it was a lot more challenging than it was now. I came to realize I can either be with the family at home or I can be with the family at work. So I quickly moved out. But, like Senior was saying, like it's nice to know that everyone has a vested interest in the company's well-being as a whole, beyond just showing up for the paycheck. You know, it's nice to know that everyone is sort of on mission, essentially. I will say there are some difficulties at times with all of us. You know, when it's the family and I'm very close with my parents. We're all a very tight-knit family. So, yeah. There is a bad habit of taking work home with you,
Yeah,
but
I'm very guilty of that.
That's also sometimes unavoidable.
Yeah.
You know, so even though the job is fun, right? Like me as the marketing guy, I like to joke around to say I get paid to shoot guns on camera, which is ostensibly what we've been doing all day today. But at the same time, we're here working on a Saturday, so
Yeah.
there's a give and a take with everything. But if I could go back and redo it, I don't think I'd change it.
Yeah, it takes a strong family unit to be able to pull this kind of thing off.
Yeah, it does.
One of the other things that happens is because both he and I are gun guys now. You know, I mentioned to you that, hey, I didn't come into this as a gun guy. I came into this as this engineer race car guy with a clever idea.
Yeah, I've always been a gun guy. He bought me an AK-47 for my 14th birthday, and it was all
Yeah.
downhill from there.
Yeah, an AK and
It was a Wasser 10 and a Smith & Wesson M&P 9.
That's right.
Yep.
That's right. And a weekend tactical course.
Yep.
Yeah. What a
Yep.
way to turn 14, huh?
I got an AK, I got a handgun, I got a tactical chest rig, which was a piece of shit, but we didn't know any better at the time.
What did you get for Father's Day that year?
Oh God, a crisp handshake, I'm sure.
And then, so one of the habits that we've developed over the years with this is we can't help but look at anything in daily life nowadays and start to weaponize things, right? So you look at anything, it's like, I don't know, the mouse on a computer, and suddenly you start seeing, oh my God, I could make I could make this tiny little improvised, you know, a little teeny tiny claymore out of this thing or something.
Yeah.
And it becomes habit. But
Yeah, let's stop before we paint ourselves into another watch list.
end up on the no-fly list.
Yeah.
Who's the better shot?
Oh, me for sure.
Yeah, him for sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Yeah, we saw that today.
Yeah.
You shoot very well, by the way.
Yeah, thank you. A lot of dry fire, too much dry fire, but you know, that's I like to joke, like, he's a gun guy in that he enjoys guns, but his primary hobby is this stuff. It's cars, it's race cars, it's motorcycles, you know.
So you're the better driver.
Oh, by far.
By a long shot.
By far.
Yeah, by a long
Yeah.
by a long shot.
Yeah. So
Just the experience.
yeah.
It's been so cool seeing the three of you interact with one another. Just because I kind of worked in that same thing. I worked in a panel building shop with my dad and my stepmom, and after a while, just like you say, you get mad at each other at work. You kind of stay mad at each other when you go to Thanksgiving the next day.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It didn't work out for us, so it's really cool to see that work out. Because, I mean, we've spent 2 days with you guys, and you guys are super close.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So that being said, where do you see TWS 10 years from now? You'll be older. I know you're younger than me right now. Where do you see?
Well, if I had my way, we'd be making fighter jets and aircraft carriers. But you know, I might be dreaming a little bit too big there.
Yeah, a tier 1 defense contractor. We've got some. So we're not branching out into other things outside of our specialty, at least not as we see it right now. There is enough room for growth and development within the AK specialty that we believe the company can grow substantially and offer truly innovative products within this space.
Yeah.
Okay? So you really need to keep a close eye on some of the things that are going to be coming out specifically over the next 6 months, 12 months, 18 months, because they're going to be surprising.
Yeah, it's gonna be big stuff, and if the community reacts the way that I think they're gonna do, I think it's gonna turn a lot of heads, and it's gonna kind of turn the concept of what people think of as an AK on its head in a very good way.
Yeah. Ultimately, what I'd like is there's this. There seems to be this perception among a lot of folks that American-made AKs are just not quite up to par the way some of the old Soviet stuff is and whatnot.
Yeah, they're either not cost competitive or quality competitive or a litany of other nitpicks that people have with them. But
Yeah. And so
They have a stigma, 100%.
yeah,
they have a
exactly,
And,
exactly.
And as American manufacturers, not the point, but we some of our fellow American manufacturers have shot themselves in the foot.
Yeah, some of that stigma is well deserved.
Yeah, by introducing these cast trunnions and carriers and all these subpar quality componentry in their rifles. And throughout its history, Texas Weapon Systems has always been known as an absolute premium quality product.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, no one has ever had any doubt about that or been able to disparage that. And I see us taking the AK further down that road, where people then say, "Oh, American-made AKs, those are the best you can get."
Yep.
So that's where we're taking this market. And we'll drag everyone else kicking and screaming along with us if we have to.
Yep.
But we're taking them there.
it kind of has to go that way whether we like it or not.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's cool to see companies like this get behind that mantra.
Mm-hmm.
It can't happen. I mean, we lose imports day by day. It's not a reliable thing to count on.
It is not.
Eventually, we're going to have to make the holy trinity: the bolt, the carrier, the trunnion, the barrel, receiver, everything else.
Yep.
It's going to have to go that way if we're going to keep enjoying AKs in this
Yep.
country.
It either happens or the AK community dies slowly over time.
Yeah,
But
it'll wither away, and I don't think that's a good road to go.
I agree.
What would you say to someone it's 2024 right now, some kid fresh out of high school like you used to be one day that decided they want to start their own company and get into manufacturing small parts for anything? Do you have any advice for them?
Yeah, you have to, above all else, you have to be committed. You have to have a clear goal, a clear focus, and you have to be uncompromisingly committed to achieving that goal.
I mean, I agree for starters. And I think that furthermore, I think that you also need to have a willingness and an ability to step back and understand that, you're not going to know everything at the outset, and be willing to teach yourself or seek out the skills that you need in order to do this.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, maybe a better question would be just being an entrepreneur in general, the discipline that takes. I mean, when you were a kid, did you just know one day you were going to be self-reliant to be an entrepreneur?
Absolutely. Absolutely, really? I did. Absolutely, I did. I was born to be self-employed. When I was a 12-year-old kid, we lived in a condominium building in Miami, Florida, and I didn't have lawns to mow, so I would wash the neighbors' cars. And back then, I'm really dating myself, but back then minimum wage was like $3 an hour or something. And so, yeah. And so I could make $6 an hour washing the neighbors' cars. And so I was born for that. And, throughout my adolescence and whatnot, it was always that sort of thing. Yeah, I had a lot of jobs over the years because I was always a hardworking kid. But I knew that I was born for self-employment. Just naturally have had that entrepreneurial drive. It's not for everybody, It's
hard.
It can be hard.
It can be hard. The highs are very high, but the lows are very low. Like it's not the steadiness that you get from a big Fortune 500 corporate job.
Yeah. So it takes perseverance.
Yep.
You have to be able to see through the fog to what's on the other side. So it's it takes a certain a certain constitution to be able to live with that kind of uncertainty. Although to me, having a regular 9-to-5 job is what always kind of felt uncertain to me. So so yeah, I was made for this. Commitment and focus.
556 version win.
Under development, date TBD, but soon.
I don't know, give me about
Under development, date TBD, but soon.
Yeah, very soon. Very soon. Very soon, I'll let you know.
We'll see you at SHOT Show.
Yeah, you'll definitely see it by SHOT Show.
Oh yeah.
What's your favorite crime if you had to pick one?
Okay.
Oh, I know.
Hold on. Okay. If I had to commit a crime or crime that has been committed?
A crime that has been committed.
Killdozer.
All right. For me, I would say.
He's like not phased.
I would say DB Cooper jumping out of the airplane with all the money.
With a big bag of money.
With a big bag of money.
Okay.
That was, as far as adventurous crimes, that's got to be one of the all-time best.
Motorcycles into the shopping mall, into the jewelry store, smash and grab as much as they could, and then ride back out again.
The one recently, that armored car depot thing, I think what the guys did is use like some shape charge or something, and literally.
Like LA or something, they blew a frame charge in the wall.
Yeah, they blew a garage door into the side of the building. And because they blew the wall out of the thing, I guess it didn't set off alarms or something.
Yeah,
And they just drove the trucks right out the damn door or something. I don't know, something like that. I mean, that's.
You're an engineer, you could probably figure out a better way to do that.
Again, about ending up on watch lists or.
As they say, hindsight is 20/20, right?
appreciate your time. You've been very generous to myself and Richella Bella, the walking shot timer. So that's been very nice. I guess if you could leave the viewers with a final thought just about TWS or yourselves as a whole, what would you leave everyone with?
So about TWS, I would say that know that every product we ever bring to market is going to make a meaningful improvement to the rifle. We're never going to introduce a gimmick product just for the sake of having some gimmicky thing to talk about. Okay, so we're a serious product for serious shooters.
Yeah, I agree.
All right.
All right, well, I appreciate your time. Thank you for showing us your beautiful shop. It's so well maintained and well kept, and you seem so passionate about it. And it's been super inspiring, so thank you so much.
I
Yeah,
appreciate
thanks for
you coming
coming
out
out
and spending the time with us. We'll do it again.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll call you when the 101 and the 102 are ready to test.
Yeah.